And it is now 6:33. I apologize for my tardiness. I moved from upstairs to downstairs and got the blue screen of death. And so everything else after that was slow. It's now 6:34, so with your indulgence, I will call the meeting to order. And we will commence as our custom with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Could I just say one thing about the Pledge of Allegiance? About 4 years ago, I went to Selectman at the time, Peter May. And Peter May, we hadn't had the start of the town council meetings with the Pledge of Allegiance in years. And I went to Peter May and he said, Dan, I'll get it done. And sure enough, he got it done. And now they now say it after every meeting. But I thank Peter May for that. And of course, condolences to his family.
Yeah, no doubt. He was certainly a true gentleman. No doubt about it. Thanks for sharing that, Dan.
There
I
you go.
pledge allegiance
Pledge allegiance to the
Flag
of the United States of America and to the
to the
republic for
republic
which it stands,
which stands
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty
with
and
liberty
justice
and
for all.
justice
for all.
Thank you very much. Did we have any volunteers to take the minutes in Rob's absence? If not, I will certainly do it. We have myself, David, Rob, Paul.
I'll take a shot at it, Jake.
Okay, thank you. Christy may or may not be able to call in. Marion's here, Dan. I got an email from Jackie saying she's been having some health and work issues. She won't be able to make it. I see Mike. I see, I don't see Joe, see Melinda, Brian, and I don't see Sean. Okay. Yeah. Okay. First article is the review and approval of the September 21st meeting minutes that Rob sent out. I hope everyone got them and was able to digest them. They seem perfectly fine from my perspective. Do we have any questions, concerns, or comments about the September 21st meeting minutes? Hearing none, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as written.
so moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you very much. We'll segue nicely into the VSO report. David?
Okay, good evening. The Veterans Advisory Board VSO report for October 19th, 2021. Wakefield Veterans Monthly Food Bank will be held tomorrow. I've already called everybody to remind them for the pickup behind the Senior Center at 30 Converse Street from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. The Wakefield Food Bank and the Greater Boston Food Bank contribute dry goods and food for our veterans in need. We currently have 18 families who are signed up for the program, of which I will be delivering probably 2 or 3 at the most. On Chapter 115, we currently have 9 clients on the program. We've gone down by 3 over the last 2 months. The recertification letters will be going out at the end of the month for the upcoming year for qualifications and validation. Although the Chapter 115 clients are reducing, the veterans benefit claims have been increasing significantly. I've been averaging 2 to 3 claims a week from both veterans and spousal interest. We will be finding ways to reach out to the community over the next few months to make folks more aware of the Chapter 115 initiative, to help those in need through speaking at the coffee social, to the Veterans Corner, to Veterans Benefit Awareness. With the upcoming Vietnam Veterans Roll to Washington trip in September 2022, to visit the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, the Wall, and other monuments, one of the requirements for attending is to have them present a discharge document known as a DD-214, and also being a Vietnam veteran. Many veterans will be searching for their DD-214s to qualify for the trip. My office has access to the Massachusetts enlisted veterans military records if needed. However, for those who reside in Wakefield and enlisted out of state, I will not be able to retrieve them. We could contact the National Archives by submitting the request document SF-180, but it takes several months for them to respond due to the COVID personnel limitations at the facility and burial benefits questioning a request rather as a priority. Sponsorship cards for the roll to Washington have arrived in my office. Thank you, Jay. And I will begin in the next few weeks to start distributing them throughout the community by placing them at businesses, post office, the library, and the library as an initiative for support of the program. We had one homeless veteran reach out to my office through his caseworker from the Veterans Banyan, from the Wakefield Banyan Treatment Center residence for veteran benefits. Unfortunately, he was not qualified. COVID Pfizer booster shots at the VA are now available for veterans and spouses and caregivers. Shots may be obtained by making an appointment by calling 781-687-4000. Keep trying. If the line is busy, they will open the line to you. We have 3 more aid attendance applications coming to the office, and we have one that got approved for a pension to assist in some of the costs for home health care. Although it is not a large sum of money, it helps offset the costs. Veterans are still fighting battles from many fronts, from memories of combat to situations here at home. With the recent return of many veterans from Afghanistan, we have opened doors to assist them and guide them to resources and letting them know there is help available for them within the Department of Veterans Affairs. Please have them contact the Veterans Service Office here in Wakefield at 781-246-6377. The Veterans Crisis Line is 1-800-273-8255. Press 1 for confidential help with suicide. Regarding last month's report, the search is over for the DD-214 for the family in Maine seeking out burial benefits for their son. We finally received it, but unfortunately, he did not qualify. And that is the closing of the report.
Any questions, concerns, comments about David's report? Just did want to touch on a couple of things while it pops into my mind. We need to recertify our clients twice a year in the June, July timeframe, and then December to January. We can only put 6 months of benefits in at a time. So in the coming months, we'll be going through that. It's the recertification that we do in January is a lot more exhaustive than the mid-year review. Another thing that I thought of is we were just forwarded some data from the Department of Veteran Services that shows the dollars that are coming back to all the cities and towns. I'll find that and I'll pull the Wakefield data out and send it out to everybody. You know, there are quite a few dollars that come back to our cities and towns every month. It was actually quite impressive.
Jay, for Wakefield, it was over $360,000.
Now that's a month.
Oh,
So,
okay. Wow.
So I reached back out to Evan at DVS for clarification on that.
That was a year.
Yeah. So it's a lot of money that come back to the cities and towns in the wake of Massachusetts and VA benefits. And it certainly begs keeping VSOs in cities and towns because there seems to be a lot of pressure across the state in getting rid of them for some reason. I'll make a motion to accept David's report as read. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Paul. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you. I just wanted to touch briefly on the Veterans Corner article. What I had planned to do is put an article together that talks about all of the projects that we have ongoing. I'll share the article with this board before it gets submitted. It's, Wreaths Across America, Coffee Social, Veterans Field, the Veterans Banner, Veterans Day itself, the VSO's office, and anything else that I can think of while I'm typing. Just to reinforce for the community, what we're doing, what we have on our plate, and the fact that we're here and that David's office is there if they have any needs. Any thoughts, and I had a thought today for another potential article for November. I heard in a meeting that I was in today that some cities are seeking to have November named as Veterans Month, not just Veterans Day. It seems like we have every day there's a day. National Hamburger Day, National Toothbrush Day, whatever the case may be. And I was in a meeting where somebody said that, although we celebrate Veterans Day on November 11th, every day is in fact Veterans Day. And he said that every day is Memorial Day. Thankfully, I don't think we have service members passing away every day in conflict. But I think his message was important that every day is Veterans Day. And, maybe in November, one of the things that we could do is we could promote the Veterans Discount Program too. The fact that it exists, if we could get a good number on how many businesses have bellied up and are sponsoring it, or at least put a copy of their logo in the paper so that people know to look for it. I've actually only seen one on Smith Drug. I have to admit, I'm not looking for them in great and gory detail, but the one on the front door at Smith Drug did pop out to me.
Brothers has theirs. I can name 4 or 5 of them. Anyhow,
Yeah. So, if we could certainly, I certainly want to promote that as a way of thanking them, and certainly driving some business to them because they've been so generous to us. I mean, Brothers is, one of the more generous businesses in town, that's for sure. They certainly have donated more than their fair share. And I know you always see a lot of different meetings, whether it's Rotary, a Chamber of Commerce, whatever happened at Brothers. So that's what I plan to do in the coming week plus. And I'll share that article with everybody. Okay. And of course, if you have any other thoughts on things that we should do for Veterans Corner, or you want to write a letter to the editor, please feel free to share them. Okay. Veterans Day. I think we're actually looking pretty good at this point. One of the things that we need to settle on is Master of Ceremony. As I think I've told you, I will not be in the country. With the good fortune of poor planning, I will be in Aruba for the week that includes Veterans Day and the Marine Corps birthday. If not, following my anniversary, so I won't be able to be there. So we need a Master of Ceremonies for the event. Paul has volunteered. If nobody else wants to step up, let me tell you what I've done in the past. And basically what I do is I've put together the program sheet, which I shared a preliminary draft with you tonight. I don't know if you've had a chance to see your emails, but that's almost locked and cocked. I just need to make a few changes. We won't have the Wakefield Choral Society. And this board needs to make a couple of decisions on what we plug into the program. And we can go over that. So first, I want to see if we have, as I said, Paul has volunteered to be the Master of Ceremonies. If we want to accept that offer, I'm certainly more than willing to accept. If everyone else is, we will certainly go with that. Okay,
And I, of course, will work with him directly.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Yeah.
absolutely. We all will.
Yep.
Mm,
Yep, whatever it needs.
Yeah, thank you for whatever you just sent me, Melinda. I'll certainly take a look at it. So I put together the program. We put together the program. And from that, I make a script which has historically prevented me and a few others from being in front of an audience freelancing, because I have been cautioned against doing that on numerous occasions. But even working from a script, I get a little far afield at times. So after tonight, I think we'll have the program agenda set, which I'll share with the group. And from that, once we agree to it, I'll create the script, which I'll share, and then we'll go back and forth a couple of times. And then we should be good to go. David already received confirmation that Father Ron Barker from St. Joe's will be our member of clergy. We will have Tom Lyons. His resume is long and illustrious as our guest speaker. We will have the Wakefield High School treble choir singing the national anthem. We will have the Wakefield High School Wind Ensemble doing the Armed Forces, Pride of America, service songs. Does the Space Force have a service song?
We
I even
can
said that-
create one.
Star
The
Wars.
sound of rockets
I'm sorry.
going about
I
4
even-
times the speed of sound.
I even said that with a straight face. I'm sorry. 'Cause I always thought it should be part of the Air Force, but that's just me. So the things that we need to discuss. I reached back out to the American Legion to see what, if anything, they would like to participate in during the ceremony. And I just a few minutes ago received confirmation that I think he's the chaplain for the Legion, or was. I'm not sure if he still is. John Bowling said that he will, he'll he'd like to fill in on anything that we would like to assign them. Historically, we've had a member of the American Legion do the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, so we'll have them do that. Question was raised if we want to have the reading of the in Flanders Field, that poem in Flanders Field
Yeah,
that goes back
Yep.
goes back to World War I. If we want to include that in the ceremony, John will read that. Do we want to include it?
Yes, I think we should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love, yeah,
Yeah, it's quite touching, and I think
yes.
it goes back to where the day originated. And I'm sorry, I kind of skipped ahead. A few years ago, there's an organization, I think that might be called the Doughboy Foundation or something like that, that part of their mission is, or was, I think, leading up to the 100th anniversary of the end of World War I, hence Veterans Day, Armistice Day, etc. And on 11/11 at 11, they are trying to get the bells of peace rung. So churches across the nation will ring bells. The only 2 churches in town that I'm aware of that have the ability are St. Joe's and the Congregational Church. I don't know if St. Florence or Blessed Sacrament have bells. Certainly don't think the Temple does. There is no more Baptist church at this point. UU doesn't have a tower, so I don't think they have bells. So we could certainly take the action to reach out to St. Joseph's Parish and the Congregational Church to see if they want to participate. Fire Chief Sullivan, a few years ago when we did this, he has a very impressive silver bell that I think probably used to be on one of those really old fire engines. And when we had it, it might have been in 2018, I'm not sure. The ceremony kicked off at 11 a.m. with a firefighter who is now a lieutenant ringing the bell. That was actually the first thing that happened as part of the ceremony before the opening, before the welcome, everything like that. Chief Sullivan says that they will do that again. He'll either get Lieutenant Curran or another firefighter to do it. So, I'll take the action to reach out to St. Joe's and the Congregational Church to see if they want to take part. So
I think they had the bell at the 9/11 ceremony too.
I was not there, so I don't know. I kind of even forget where I was on 9/11, but that's a different story. We'll put Fandersfield in. John Bowling has said that he will read that also. The other thing that I wanted to ask about was two things. Do we want to play taps? I was part of a discussion today, not today, earlier this week about playing taps. Person I was speaking with thought it was more appropriate at Memorial Day. It certainly is appropriate at Memorial Day, but on the VA website today, I saw that they believe that it is certainly appropriate to have a moment of silence and play taps as part of a Veterans Day ceremony. I think it's fine. We can put it in, leave it out, whatever the board thinks.
Hey,
I'm
Jay,
good. Yeah,
what about the armed forces songs? As opposed to,
The Armed Forces song is the Pride of America. That's what they're playing.
okay,
The high school wind ensemble is playing that.
okay, which salutes all the services.
That's why I made the smart aleck remark about the Space Force.
Right.
Gotcha.
I think we should leave taps in.
Yeah,
I
because
think
if we have
I've
the
actually
taps,
been, go ahead, David, I'm sorry.
if we do play the taps, I think it should be tied in with the recognition of veterans, living and dead, with a phrase in there somehow, so that it blends in with it, and then play the taps right after that. So we're honoring the dead as veterans as well. What do you
We
think?
we can certainly make that part of the script.
Okay.
That's not a,
You
that's
could
not a
do a
problem.
moment of silence followed by taps, and that would
Correct.
indicate instead of
Yeah.
saying,
Oh, yes, it's saying that. It just indicates it, right? Yeah.
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 And the other thing is a wreath. When in the past, when we've had the ceremonies in the Galvin, in the past, we had Tom Collins and Girl Scouts go to the back of the kind of the middle of the auditorium, retrieve a wreath and bring it down towards the stage. And then after the event, players to be named later, bring it down to the Veterans Memorial Common and place the wreath at the World War II Memorial. Wreaths are very expensive, many hundreds of dollars. And, in my opinion, that's fine. We find the money somewhere. You know what I mean? I'm fine with the wreath. I think we still have time to order it. Should we have a wreath and try to have that I don't think Tom Collins is physically able to take part in it, but John Bowling certainly will. I don't even know how to get in contact with Girl Scouts anymore. I don't know if they're part of it. I haven't heard back from the Boy Scouts yet either. And if we don't hear back from the Scouts, we just place the colors on the stage and they remain there. We don't post and retrieve the colors, but you know, I'll bug them again. So wreath, yes. No. Discussion. Don't forget, you're muted, David.
Can-
Well, there's a thing going on in the room, so, yes, I'm for the wreath myself. I think it's a good idea because it fills the day up with the things we can be doing.
Yeah, and you know, I think it's I think it's fitting.
Yeah.
Certainly a fitting remembrance. And we can get that done. Melinda, do you have any contacts at Girl Scouts?
I was just looking up to see if there was a main page. There's individual troops. I can ask Kelly, the girls troop leader. They've been inactive for 2 years, but she did reach out and asked us to renew. They just haven't met. I'll ask her who's in charge. And you know, once I get a name, I can see if anyone would like to do it.
Now, another thing just popped into my head. The last few years, we've been receiving a proclamation from the state that we have
Yeah.
read. I think Rob has read it before. You know, we've actually had a student read it before. I have not received it. I haven't asked when we will be getting it because as memory serves, we get it at the 11th hour. David?
Yeah, Evan brought that up at one of the VSO meetings online about a week ago, that if we want copies of it, we just have to ask them for it and they'll send it to us. They'll probably
Okay.
email it to us and we can print it at our own location.
Yeah, because we've received like these gigundo proclamations before that really are fun to look at, but they really just go in the recycling bin after that. So
Right.
we could I'll ask him for a copy of that because I'm sure that I read it at the Saugus ceremony before. So I'll see if we can get a copy of that. Is any member of this board interested in reading the proclamation? If not, I could reach out to Ms. Lopez down at the high school to see if she has a motivated history student that might want to do it.
Or
I'll
even
read
someone
it.
from the ensemble.
Erin, you'll do it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
I'll
cool.
read it.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. And that was it for the open items that I had on Veterans Day.
Okay.
Yo, yeah.
Excuse me. Where it says welcome open ceremony, David Mangan, Wakefield Veteran Service Officer. At that point, am I reading anything that I'm going to put together?
No,
Okay.
that's going to be Paul.
Good, good.
You,
I did it last time.
as of right now, you have successfully avoided any responsibility in this project.
Not
Nice
true,
going,
not
Dave.
true. I'll be there. Well,
The Air
Dave-
Force.
Dave, there's a bill that's gonna come over to your office, okay?
well,
High
again,
High-priced consulting service.
I received notification that the Medal of Liberty has come in for a Wakefield resident, and it's James Peach. And they asked me if I wanted to have a military presentation made to the family. You had mentioned in the past you thought that might be more appropriate for Memorial Day.
Correct.
Okay, so we can hold that off till then.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to have it done here in the office, outside the office, here by the flags, to the brother who's aging now, and the son will be here with them. And I'll take photographs. And at that time, it'll be the award for the son, or for the brother. And then on Memorial Day, we'll do it at the service of Memorial Day service itself.
Okay. Yep. So I think that that kind of wraps up Veterans Day at this point. Again, I'll rework the agenda and get to work on the script for it also. Okay, cool. Anything else on Veterans Day?
Yeah,
Oh,
Jay, if
and,
you got, do you have a sheet of just points of contact? So if you're taking off and we haven't heard from the Girl Scouts or the Boy Scouts or the other organizations, you know, maybe a
This'll-
name for
Yeah,
the groups.
I mean, this will all be locked on before I go anywhere, that's for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I can certainly put that together. I mean, it's a fairly small list. John Bowling from the Legion, Mr. Bankert from high school, Tom Lyons. Yeah, I could certainly put that together. And then
Okay,
if we do hear from the Scouts, because I'm unclear at this point who the Scout leader is. So I just
Yeah.
reached out.
I think the Boy Scouts and the Cub Scouts on that popcorn in front of like Caprielle's this weekend, I think. But they should be out in front of someplace Saturday.
Selling popcorn.
There's a link. It says for the Boy Scouts, Troop 701, there are a few packs represented. It says the Scoutmaster is Jeff Crump. There's just a web page. I have a web page. There's no
That's
chat
old.
anymore on our
That's
meetings.
old. That's old
Okay.
news.
All right.
Yeah, Jeff was a couple, 3 troop leaders ago.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
a lot of us are not keeping our social media up to date. Awesome. Moving on, how'd the coffee social go?
wait, before we
Yeah.
go on to that,
Yep.
Dave, when you sync up with Father Ron and the folks over at St. Joe's Church, can you ask about the Boy Scouts also? They may know because they sell reeds and everything in December, and they may be going through the preliminary to get that permission.
Yeah,
I can certainly do that. Right,
Troop 701 works out of the Congregational Church.
that's right.
Right, but
There's an
He wouldn't
email.
know. He wouldn't know that. I think about it. They asked for permission to sell them there. That's about all he knows.
yeah, yeah.
Right after the Knights of Columbus sell their Tootsie Rolls.
Right, that I don't
That's
buy.
right.
I give them the donation.
Okay, cool. A few things still to go. Uh-oh, what just happened?
You all right?
Wow. Something just popped up, said sick of the 40-minute time limit. I don't know what that means.
Oh,
How-
the
how'd the-
Zoom call? Like
Yeah,
the
Yeah,
free Zoom
It-
initially used to have only a certain amount of time.
yeah,
Yeah.
it popped up and then it disappeared, so. We paused for a message from our sponsor. So how did the coffee social go?
Okay, I thought it went pretty good. We had, I think, 9 people showed up for it. And I took the lead to talk about where we're gonna be going with it in upcoming meetings. We wanted to talk about it tonight, about do we want to do it every month or every 3 months or every 4 months? That's the decision I thought we could make here at the advisory board. They've offered us up the yacht club. And the ones who did show up, each one of the people that were there is going to reach out and bring a veteran with them when they come the next time. So if we can do this exponentially, at some point, we can use the hall here at the senior center. Would be a good place to do that, and if it gets large enough where we can't meet at the yacht club.
That would be a good problem to have.
Yeah,
Looking.
right.
Oh.
During Hector's era, we did it at the senior center. You know, 2 guys came. And
Well-
now while thinking of that, I'm not sure if I shared this info. Does anyone remember Hector Arena? Used to
Yep.
be
Yes.
Yep.
he passed away suddenly. I think it was last month.
Mhm.
There were no services, etc. I went down to Bourne for the interment. Very short and sweet, 5 minutes and we were done. He was a good guy.
Yeah.
He left Wakefield. I believe he was up the Bedford, the hospital up
Yeah.
there.
His best
Yeah,
friend, Chico, and I had a long discussion regarding his enjoying the job he had there and the work satisfaction of what he was getting done. It was very nice. But the thing I was trying to say, Jay, about the growth, and at the coffee social, I did discuss, I highlighted everything from aid and attendance to chapter 115 to sharing experiences of our time in the service. And at that point in time, we also discussed about the people that were there were very interested in it, and they all committed to bringing someone next time.
Now, were these 9 people that are not members of this board?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Did Tommy Lyons come?
I don't think so.
I don't
Right,
think I
'cause
saw him there, no.
He reached out to me that morning to see what the time was. Maybe it didn't work with his schedule.
Well,
I
I don't
got the
believe he was
emails.
there.
I got the emails from everybody, and I'm gonna send out the information for everybody that was there, gave me their email. And so what I was
That's
thinking
good.
also is doing an email, a shootout, sort of, just for the coffee social as a communication tool.
That's a good idea. Was Eric Jetter there?
No, I didn't see her.
Got big guy
Yeah,
with a
but-
beard?
We had one guy from the National Guard. I guess he was stationed up to Camp Curtis for a long time, but he was like 35 years active with the National Guard. And he was there and he said, I'll bring somebody next time.
Did we ask them what sort of frequency of meetings that they would like to have?
Dan, what do you think? I thought, I was getting a feeling every,
Try it once a month. If it fails, then go to
Yeah.
3 months. We ran out of coffee anyway.
we sure did, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, we could certainly do monthly. And then if we're not getting the traction, we could move it back to quarterly. I think earlier we had discussed kind of doing the opposite, doing it
Right.
quarterly, and if we get traction, make it more frequent. Again, I don't want to call the ball on it. I will certainly defer to the majority opinion.
hey, Jay, that coffee also overlapped with Peter May's funeral.
Yeah.
On Saturday.
Getting an interest for them to appear, for people to show is gonna be, is strategic on how and what we'll be discussing at the coffee social to get them in the door. Luring them in for something that's gonna help them as veterans, between the benefit packages, the discount program, being active in the different events that take place throughout the community. I think, but it's gonna be a way of stimulating them to come. That's the whole idea, I think. So,
So what do we think? Do we want to have one in November?
I think we talked about having it in November because the second Saturday is the Saturday right after Veterans Day. And there might be some opportunities to promote it at the Veterans Day services.
Ah,
Okay, yep. All right, so we already have a date for November. What is that, the 14th or something?
It's the 13th, I think. The only
13th.
reason we say that is because that's what Christie had originally talked about. I think that was her discussion with Quantipow and Honeydew, I think the second Saturday for plan,
Okay.
but I'm not positive of that.
Cool.
Yeah, this past
so-
Saturday, was kind of busy because everybody was pulling their boat up. I think they take the docks in like right after.
the 13th, I have the 13th here on my calendar. We talked about that.
November 13 is a Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
I will be wrapping up my Aruba and hopefully have tested COVID negative by that time. Because I guess if you don't, you spend another 14 days in Aruba locked in your room.
Jeez.
Yeah, today I went down to see Bobby Sardella at Sardella Sign. And he had said that pick up 2 signs we can throw out on Linda Road and North Avenue, coffee social today with an arrow. and it might bring in a few people from maybe the farmer's market or something.
Be awesome, well, the farmer's market is over this month. But yeah, if we could put something like that at the end of winter, that would be good. Thank you.
Just a heads up, looking forward to December. We need to probably pen that in on the 11th, which is a Saturday.
Mhm. Yeah, we're gonna have to, when we do this, we're gonna have to keep a look at, holidays, religious things.
Right.
I think we had one of our board meetings scheduled for Rosh Hashanah or Yom Kippur or something like that a few years ago, so we had to reschedule things.
December
Okay, cool.
11th may be holiday stroll day. I don't know.
Well, we can certainly try to find that out. Well, thank you. I'm glad it went well. Dan, anything new to report on the Veterans Field Memorial Project?
Like I said, I was down to see Bobby Sardella today, and unfortunately, his whole computer system crashed, and he's got like 35 years of graphics that he can't
Right.
back. So he's trying to get back. What's there a program? What do they call it? Carbonite didn't back him up. So he said in a couple of days he'd give me a schematic on just about what the sign would look like. Then we can play with that, tweak it out a bit.
And I think, as we move forward, one of the things that I think I'll do is I'll see if I can use. No, we'll use the graphic that you sent me before when we have something that's more focused on that project instead of having it in one overarching thing. And I think, as I've said before, Mr. Mayo and Mr. Fazio are good with it. Mr. Fazio certainly had some comments on plantings, etc., concerns about where snow is deposited over the winter, certainly a concern. But and I think we heard from Councilor Butt that we don't have to worry about the benches and seats and other stuff around Quantapowhat. So hopefully this is as long as our very generous benefactor doesn't find another thing for their generosity, this should be good to go. Now, one thing that I'm not sure that I was aware of before, and I would really like it to be part of this project, as you have mentioned a number of times in the past, Dan, the history of Vetchfield. Mr. Fazio told me at one point, the outfield used to be terraced, like
There was a granite staircase that was in center
Right.
field,
yeah,
and that's still there, but it's covered with grass. And he said he doesn't.
no, yeah, and he didn't want to move the flagpole either. But I think it has a very interesting history in town, and I think it'll be an awesome project. Okay, cool.
Somebody had mentioned about possibly lighting it up, and he had said he doesn't do that, but maybe the town could provide some kind of lighting for it, and maybe you'd
Yeah.
light up the flagpole where it would be there too.
Yeah, okay. Good idea. Okay, thank you. The banners program. I think I sent everybody something letting you know where we were at the time. When I originally had reached out to the gentleman at the T stop, he had expressed some concerns about the timing and logistics. It seems that he is facing some of the same constraints that you hear about on the news all the time. Lack of materials, lack of just, bandwidth, etc. And plus, to be honest, we didn't get a great response to our initial query. I only heard from 7 people, only 3 of whom submitted a photo. And one of those photos would need to be repaired, digitized, however you want to characterize it, just like we did for the graphics that are down at the Galvin. One of the gentlemen that reached out, David, was Marty Moy, Tony Moy's son. I don't know if you get the Sunday Globe, but there was an article about Chinese American veterans in the Sunday Globe, and Mr. Moy was in that article. I think, we have more work to do. I told the folks that I had responded to that, we certainly plan to continue to solicit input from folks. I'm sorry, I got things from 8 people. Marion sent me a picture of her husband.
I
So
haven't sent you mine yet.
other than Marion, nobody on this board sent me a photo.
Well, we can't, that's just.
So, so I think we have some work to do, and I'd like to, keep hammering on this, because I think I forwarded everybody the banner that I saw up in York, Maine, when we were up there. I mean, that's kind of what I had envisioned, and I've seen it in other towns. And it was one of the things that Councilor Dombrowski started with a few years ago. He saw it in upstate New York. But we need to, I need to get clear definition from the gentleman at the T-Stop, what works best for him. PDFs, I think I gave him all PDFs for the existing banner project. Some of the folks sent me pictures of pictures. That's not going to work. We'll need to get the original photo, scan it, digitize it, etc. But I'd like to. I don't want this project to go away. I'd like it to continue. So we'll keep hammering on that. But I will put something in the article that this is where we are. This is what we'd like to do. Okay. That's it for that. Other business. Marion, do you want to touch base on your Gold Star Wives item that you mentioned?
Well, it's not till 2022, this in July of 2022, the National Convention of Gold Star Wives of America is going to be held in Boston. So we've got some programs that we're going to be reaching out to people to ask advice about and what have you. So I might be, knocking on your brains for help with some of the things that the convention committee is thinking about doing. That right now right now we're in the process of sending out sponsorship letters and what have you and getting the whole thing. But they have they've decided that they'd like to have 2 or 3 programs that run when our board of directors is meeting. This like really not a lot for the ladies to do except for go out and shop. So we want to give them some programs that they could benefit from. And one of those they were thinking about was seeing if they could get some VSOs to come in and talk to them about various benefits and what have you and something like that, because they're always looking for help with what they can get, what they have to do to get it, and so on and so forth. So I thought I'd just mention it because, like I said, I might be asking you guys to help me out with what I can, but for now, that's it. What?
Count me in. I've recently had a good experience with an annuity program for a Gold Star wife who is about to receive a 10-year reimbursed annuity.
Wow.
Over $22,000.
Wow.
And there's a special document.
And don't forget, that's a Massachusetts only program.
Right.
This this convention is a national program.
Yeah,
I
this will be a
assume.
national convention, so they'll be looking for
Do you have
You
a
know,
date? Do you have a date on that?
the date that the convention is July 12th through the 17th.
Okay.
And so we've got a lot to work to, we've been working on it for almost 2 years now, but we got closed out with a lot of the stuff that we had to do for COVID. Just shut us when we try to decide on a venue where we would have it and everything. We couldn't go to look at the venues because everything got closed down. So we're doing everything kind of virtual, and so we have the venue. It's going to be held at the Park Plaza Hotel. They've been very, very good to us. It's really kind of the chapter president of the Boston chapter president is actually the chairperson of the convention, and she did the negotiating with the Park Plaza with the help of Don Cox, and they've been very, very good to us. So at least we finally got that squared away, because it took us a year to be able to go and see any of the hotels, but that was the best one for our needs, for what we needed. And so we've got a lot of work ahead of us that we couldn't do, but we're catching up slowly but surely. We're catching up. So
That's a nice venue.
yeah, and we didn't think we would. I was like, I don't know, Peg, that looks a little over the top, but they were very good to us. So we were lucky. We were very lucky.
Thank you. Well, certainly let us know if we can help with anything.
All right, thank you.
How did the call on the grant program go last Friday while I was luxuriating in Maine?
There were no attendees. So I don't know if, if people want to just think about this and then send me an idea. We can get up to $15,000 in a match. So it's up to 50% of the value of any given project. It has to have, historical significance or be for an archiving event. But I'm wondering, when you're talking about Veterans Field, if it has the potential for public education, it could fall into this category if we're using it to educate the public about something related to something of significance, the site, or
Yeah.
Then we could put that in. But it's got to be something that is historically relevant to the town, and it doesn't have to all be cash. They'll give you $35 an hour for volunteer time as well, which would
And
just have to be
is it a match in that the town would have to come up with X amount of dollars also?
direct and indirect. So, yes, it would be a combination, right? Like, say they were going to give 10 grand, but then there'd be $5,000 in kind volunteer hours that we then account for. So all we need to do by November 7th is write a letter of intent, which is not a real heavy lift, but we do need to have substance behind
Right.
the program idea. So I can send out more detail to the group, and if anybody has,
Starts
a
with
great
an idea.
idea, let me know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
Wreaths across America. I spent some time down at Forest Glade yesterday on my not quite daily trip, but my regular trip down there. And I used a clicker that Wreaths Across America sent me last year. One of those little things that you go like this to count. And I walked all the graves. I made sure all the flags were still up and looking in good shape. And they came up with 410 veteran headstones. And we generally include the 4 memorials and the flagpole at Forest Glade. And we've put them at Colonel Connolly, we've put them down at the Veterans Memorial Common. I think last year we came up with a planning number of 430. That still seems to be a good number. The kind of good news is that we are coming into the year with 69 wreaths to our credit. So last year we got more donations than we got wreaths. So we already have 69 in the well. I sent out a draft of the flyer that we can use at Veterans Day. We can post here, there, and everywhere. I did put a little coming attractions thing on the Wakefield community Facebook yesterday. Got 3 whole likes. Maybe a lot of people don't know what it is, but they'll hear more about it. So I think, the date is Saturday, December 18th at noon. The cutoff date for donations is Tuesday, November 30th. Okay. So basically we have 6 weeks between here and there. And Dan's idea was to have these flyers available to people coming in the door at Veterans Day. We'll put them up at Honeydews, Dunkin' Donuts,
Post office.
post office, library, etc. We will use town resources to print copies of these. And a few years ago, certainly pre-COVID, there might have been select people. Smith Galvin and Butt had a little pop-up road race around Quantapowhat. I think it was Thanksgiving weekend, but I'm not sure. They put up a little tent, put some social media together and said, hey, for a donation, come down and run around Quantapowhat. And they got a fair number of people. So, any other ideas that you can come up with, we'll run with them.
WCAT.
Oh yeah, no doubt. One of our great resources.
Yep.
And it's good that we have ins both at WCAT and the Daily Item. Yeah, we've got a lot of good support there.
Maybe one appearance at one of the town council meetings, just promoting it.
Why don't you do that?
Yeah.
Well, at least we could get all 7 councilors maybe to donate.
Yeah. Well, the gentleman across the street from me, God bless him, Vietnam paratrooper, 2 fake knees, a couple of fake hips, defibrillator, the whole shebang. Came he has a knack of wanting to chat while I'm out working, cutting the grass, whatever have you. And he came, his version of a sprint. I said, please stop, because I was afraid he was going to go down on his face. He said, you make sure you get me one of those brochures for a wreath as soon as they're available. So we can count on a few wreaths there, that's for sure. Yeah. And as Dan said, we all chip in, that would be a good thing.
I think
So
the one thing we got to get across to people is that this is for the veterans lot at Forest Glade Cemetery, not Lakeside or some other, and not
Right.
Well,
Forest Glade. It's got to be in the.
Yeah, as I was walking around, I was going to make that abundantly clear that that's what we're talking about. People can sponsor wreaths for their peeps that are like, I saw Daniel Benjamin yesterday when I was walking around down there. Daniel Benjamin could sponsor a wreath specifically for Daniel Benjamin. We did have some people last year that sponsored a wreath. Oh, that's for my father. He's down way back. that's not what this is. Yeah, you're right. We do need to make sure that that is abundantly clear. I mean, if someone sponsors 10 wreaths and we have more than enough wreaths and they want to put one on their dad's grave, well, that'd be another good problem to have. But we're focusing on the 410 marble headstones that we have at Forest Glade in the 2 veterans lots. So I think, we're in kind of good shape there, but we really need to kick that in the pants and get it moving. So
You want me to, Jay, do you want me to send this, this flyer over to WCAT at any time soon, or should I wait a bit?
no,
I think with WCAT, you could send a flyer over there, but they can't really print something that costs money. They have
No,
some kind,
No, I mean for the advertising on the
yeah,
spots
definitely.
on the TV.
yeah, and if they need,
Do it every month or something, every weekend.
in whatever media it works best for them, if we need to put it on a PowerPoint, whatever have you, we can certainly do that. Because I have access to the Wreaths Across America website, and there are some downloadable things there.
Okay.
There's a VSO up in, no, he's not a VSO, he works in another department, that has the Wreaths Across America logo, and he has it colored or brightened. The rest, most of it is grayed out, but he's already 25% to the total, so he has like a quarter of it in color. I don't know how he does it. I'm gonna reach out to him and see how he does it.
Like a
So
short
we
timer's
can-
calendar,
No,
makes it shorter.
no. Not the one I'm thinking about. Nope. So, that would be good, again, something we can put out there that shows our progress. And, and I'm sorry, back to Veterans Day, that thought just struck me. Town Council Chair Smith Galvin has agreed to bring greetings from the town. I have not received confirmation from Senator Lewis's office. Reached out to them. Mr. Wong will be in Saugus. I believe Miss Lipper Garabedian will be in Melrose. That's the problem with having split towns. Everyone does everything at 11. So it's hard to get these folks for Veterans Day, but that's okay too. All right. Anything else for the good of the group? Done entirely too much talking again. Nothing?
I have a public service announcement.
Okay.
If you're into road races, north up in Hamilton at the Patton Homestead, there's a 10K and a 10K race on 14 November, which is a Sunday. The 10K is at 9 o'clock in the morning. There's a 1K for children and families starting at 8:30 in the morning. And that's open to all veterans. It's a run on the Purple Heart Trail up in Hamilton, Massachusetts.
1K sounds just about my speed at this point. I actually volunteered at the marathon this year. It was pretty cool again. Always is. People were just so jazzed to be back in Boston, to be able to be out there running. It was awesome. Always a great day in Boston. And my daughter Kathleen hopes to get on the Mass General team to run a marathon on the 2022 marathon on its Patriots Day normal race. So hopefully she gets on that team.
It's only 6 months away.
I know. She's
Yeah.
already out there. She's already out there running, which is good. She certainly has some motivation. All right. Well, it's almost time for Red Sox baseball. They've certainly given us something to root for. I certainly thank you for all of your participation and support. Look for revised drafts of some of the media that we've spoken about. With that, I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting. All
Second.
in favor?
Aye.
Marion, second.
Aye.
Ivan, five.
All right.
Thank you for your support. Stay well. Best to you and your families. See you all soon.